Most of us think that we couldn't be tricked into handing over our hard-earned money for phony deals. But police say con artists are experts in human psychology and behavior. They know how to gain your confidence with smooth talk and a self-assured manner.
By looks, they look like anybody else. Mostly they try to dress as commonly as possible. Sometimes they come well dressed, other times they just look like anybody else.
Smooth talkers?
Smooth talkers, very good at putting their victims at ease, gentle manner, and they usually are very unassuming.
Circus showman P.T. Barnum is associated with the famous quote, "There's a sucker born every minute." He didn't say it, a competitor did, but billions of dollars are lost annually because of fraud, and police say many people are vulnerable to the con games they see in Milwaukee. Here are just a few.
Pigeon drop's an old classic. Usually are two people involved in the scam. One person will approach the victim, tell them that they've either got something to gain or they found something and they'd like to share it with them. The second person involved in the scam will approach the first two and claim to be an interested party, at which time that they agree to all share, provided that the two new people, you and the other con man, are willing to put up good faith money. If you ever hear anything about good faith money, run, get out of there. Bank examiner scheme really relies on a person's goodwill and being a good citizen. The con artist will contact the victim and ask them to be a good citizen, to help the bank examiner apprehend a dishonest employee at their bank. They are then asked to withdraw some of their money and then redeposit it in an attempt to catch this dishonest employee. But somewhere along the line, the bank examiner gets hold of the money, and you end up, as the victim, you end up taking an empty envelope to the bank. Telemarketing schemes are fairly new. This is something that's really cropped up in the last couple of years. Someone calling you on the phone telling you that you've won a free prize. But of course, in order to collect a free prize, you have to make a deposit with them, a finder's fee. Now, if it's a prize, why do you have to pay for it? These should be keywords that alerts you that there's something wrong. Foreign lotteries, no better term than just say they're illegal. You cannot participate in a foreign lottery. So therefore, for you to spend money on a foreign lottery, you're not going to win anything except a lot of heartache when you find out that your money's gone and you got no prize coming. Yeah, the home improvement scams. How many of you have ever wanted your house improved on, a door fixed, the lawn cut, roof repaired, gutters cleaned, and contacted somebody that you read about in an ad or in the paper, and you found out that it's a lot more money than you imagined? Now along comes somebody that just rings your doorbell and promises to give you a cut-rate price if you act today, if you hurry up and do it, if you give them a little deposit and they'll come back tomorrow, you're going to get ripped off.
There's also a warning from the State Consumer Protection Division involving two new government programs. Officials say con artists are using the no-call list for telemarketers and the Senior Care Prescription Drug Plan to take advantage of unsuspecting victims.
The state of Wisconsin will never contact a citizen and ask them to register or charge a fee for that registration. Registering for no call in Wisconsin is free of charge. Consumers need to know that, and they need to be aware of any situation where they would be contacted, because people will try to get personal identifying information from them. And that can be bad, because if you give away that information to a scam artist, they can use that to establish a false identity or work up charges or costs for services or goods in your name. Senior Care, once again, is a program that can be registered at no cost to the consumer. We encourage folks to register for that, and they should never be contacted to have to pay for that service.
For more information on the most common scams or to report a concern, you can call the Police Community Services Division at 935-7905 or the State Consumer Protection Division at 266-1231.
Tips that we provide to consumers. First of all, make sure that you control your phone. If you don't want to talk to someone, tell them you don't want to talk to them. Tell them to take you off the calling list or just plain hang up. You should never give out personal identifying information because you really don't know who that person is at the other end of the phone. So we encourage people to control their personal information. Give it out only to people that you contact, not someone who contacts you. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. If somebody wants you to pay, if they want you to provide information, you're being scammed.
Be aware, be alert, be in control. You can't be a victim of a scam if you don't cooperate.
No con artist has ever been successful without the complete cooperation of the victim. It just doesn't happen. You have to help them rip you off.
There are about 220 daily arrivals and 220 daily departures at General Mitchell International Airport. The airport handles over 5 million passengers a year, but the air travel experience is changing.
For the biggest change that's occurred is the security changes that have been implemented by the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, in response to September 11th.
The most obvious new security program takes up 1/2 of the baggage check-in area near the airport ticket counters. All checked baggage is now sent through one of 6 huge X-ray explosive detection machines, which measure the density of objects.
So when you go in the ticket building now, you go to the ticket counters and check in with them and get your boarding pass and your ticket authorized. Then you take your bag about 20 feet over to a machine that x-rays your bag, and then from there it goes to the airlines and goes on the airplane. So now all checked baggage is screened, which wasn't before.
The security staff asks that people not lock their luggage. If as it goes through the x-ray machine there's something that the staff sees that they want to examine further, they need to open the luggage. And people can minimize the possibility that their bag will have to be opened by the way that they pack their bag, their checked-in bag. In other words, if they don't put any large blocks of cheese or stack their books or have bottles of beverages, there's a very small possibility that that bag will have to be opened up.
These machines are out in front of the counters, which isn't very pretty. And it's also not very efficient. And airports are going to be, over the next several years, putting them behind the counters, but we're going to build more or modify buildings to do that.
Every passenger must now go through at least 2 stages of screening, checked baggage, and carry-on luggage at the passenger checkpoint. Some people may go through a 3rd stage of screening at the airline gate. Mitchell has over 300 federal employees staffing security checkpoints and boarding gates.
Well, the travel experience is a little bit different, and it actually starts at home when a person is packing their bags. You no longer want to put any film in a bag that you're going to check in at the ticket counter. You want to carry your film, food, and beverages with you on the airplane. Now, what you want to put in your checked-in bag that you're going to check in at the ticket counter are any sharp objects. Let's say you travel regularly with a scissors or a Swiss Army knife or something like that. You want to make sure that that is now in your bag that you check in at the counter, because those kinds of things are going to be confiscated at the security checkpoint if you try to carry those on.
Another recent addition, ticketed passengers must now get a boarding pass from their airline to get through security checkpoints.
We all enjoyed that when meeters and greeters could go through the security checkpoint and go out to the gates to either see somebody off or meet somebody coming in. But right after 9/11, that privilege went away, and now it's just ticketed passengers who can go through the security checkpoint and down to the gate All of the airlines know that there are going to be passengers who need assistance, people who are handicapped in some way, children traveling alone, and all of the airlines will accommodate those needs. They all issue what's called a gate pass to a person who needs to accompany somebody who needs assistance.
You should find it's now easier to park at Mitchell Field. A new parking structure opened last November. 3,000 spaces were added, and the airport garage now accommodates about 9,000 cars.
And the nice thing about the new parking structure is that I feel that it's a much more consumer-friendly structure now. So with the new structure, you have helixes that go up to all 6 floors, and there are indicators on every floor to tell you how many spaces are in that floor, so you know which floor has the most space. Another nice feature is the moving sidewalk. We wanted the consumer to be able to get out of his car and into a heated and air-conditioned environment as soon as possible, and that's particularly true in the wintertime. And so there, down the middle of the parking structure is a moving sidewalk that is enclosed. It's heated and air-conditioned, and it's a fairly short walk to that, and that way you can have a direct route into the terminal building. A chronic complaint of the airport was the engine testing that occurred at night. And we're talking 2 a.m. because, of course, airplanes fly in the daytime, so they have to be maintained at nighttime.
So the airport built this 3-sided hangar-like structure called a ground run-up enclosure, also called a hush house. The maintenance structure is 300 by 300 feet with 44-foot-high acoustic walls, one of only 5 in the country. Nighttime maintenance is essential to help airlines with nonstop service. It opened last October, is said to have reduced by 75% the amount of noise for airport neighbors.
It has significantly reduced the numbers of complaints that we get from nighttime run-ups.
Do you know that you can bring a paper cup of coffee through the passenger checkpoint, but not a can of soda? To ensure a smooth traveling experience and comply with new security measures, passengers should check in at least 2 hours prior to scheduled departure. Have proper identification, get a boarding pass. For travel and packing tips, check with your airline.
There's enough economic activity at the airport that we can charge rates and charges and fees and rents to the people that are out here making a profit to pay our own bills. You're right, it is a Milwaukee County government function, but we are self-supporting and we don't have any property taxes involved in running the airport. The airport is one of the most important economic pillars that the community has. People travel by air. Commerce takes place by air. Frankly, I mean, if a community didn't have an airport today, there wouldn't be a community there.
You would be hard-pressed to find anything in this environment that does not represent some activity that has developmental significance for a young child.
Numbers and letters make even the first steps into the Betty Brinn Children's Museum a learning experience. And children are not only allowed, they are encouraged to touch, feel, and climb on things.
The museum's mission and the museum's motto is that the Betty Brinn Children's Museum is where kids play their way smart. And we really focus on that children come here to play, and many people think of the museum as a place to come and have a good time, and it certainly is. But what we want folks to understand is that it is an educational institution, so that when a child is here to play, they're learning as they're playing.
It's wonderful to allow a child to play on their own or just with other children. But we really encourage here at the museum, we really encourage the adults to become participants in the learning experience, to help engage their child.
Located in the Miller Brewing Pavilion at O'Donnell Park, the museum is designed specifically for kids ages 1 to 10. 70% of the children who attend are under the age of 6. The museum offers traveling exhibits such as the recent Circus World. Now through May 11th, there's an exhibition based on the popular Arthur's World books. There are 6 permanent exhibits.
For example, there is an exhibit called My Body Works, and that is sponsored by Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. It teaches children about how their body functions, what they might see at a doctor's office, what a leg brace or a neck brace might do for them, how to operate a wheelchair. They learn how to dial out 911 so that they know what to do in an emergency. It's in an area that really focuses on acquainting children with the things that they see often in doctors' offices and in their bodily functions that might intimidate a child, but this is making them comfortable and introducing them to things that are just a part of everyday life. Let's Play Railway is an area of the museum that's new. It's about 2 years old, and it's a train that was developed by the museum in partnership with the Brio Corporation based in Germantown, and put interactive pieces into these 3 components to make an exhibit that children can climb in and out of and around and learn as they play. So not only are they playing with the small pieces that they might at home in their Brio train set, but they're able to get in the train and be the engineer. A trading place is one of our most popular exhibits. A trading place refers to trade as 2 things, trade as commerce and trading goods for services. So it's an area that introduces children to work in a community, and it centers around an apple orchard. It's the inner workings of a community, and as much as children experience that on an everyday basis, we're bringing it down to their level and able to make them understand how when mom and dad go off to work, this is what's happening, and they really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Next to a trading place is an area called WBB TV, as in Betty Brinn Television, and that is probably our most popular exhibit for slightly older children. It's the inner workings of a television studio.
Hey, this is fun! This is fun!
Most popular exhibit for small families, or small children I should say, is an area called Betty's Busy Backyard. Perfect for children ages 3 and under. Everything is developmentally appropriate for small children. We really encourage parents with toddlers and even infants to come into Betty's Busy Backyard to introduce their children to things that will develop fine and gross motor skills that are seemingly obvious, easy things to do, but encourage decision making and growth, and we're very, very proud of that area as well.
We are about helping young children develop fundamental skills during probably the most critical phase in a person's life, which is from birth till 5. And we're about helping adults understand that during those first 5 years of life, there is really a profound impact on the development of a child's brain, that a child is developing their capacity to do well in school, to do well for a lifetime. They're getting all of the basics that they need to understand at a later point in time, how to read, how to write, how to understand math, science, how to work with others. So we're really about creating a foundation for children to do well for the rest of their life. We, in essence, wire the human brain and help adults understand how to do that effectively, not just here, but at home as well.
Why the Betty Brinn Children's Museum? Betty Brinn was a successful businesswoman in Milwaukee. Her firm provided health care services to Central City families. As a little girl, she lived in an orphanage and a series of 15 foster homes. Her foundation carries out her commitment to programs that benefit children. The museum has a gift shop which helps pay for its programs. Funding comes primarily from private donors. There are no city, county, or state tax dollars involved. There is a $4 admission fee for all those ages 1 and up, but don't let money stop you from bringing your child here.
Every child, every family, every group is welcome at the museum. And if a family or a child or a group can't afford to come here, we make it possible for them to participate either through free admission or subsidized admission, depending on their level of need.
To find out more about the museum and its services, you can call 390-KIDS or visit them on the web at www.bbcmkids.org. They hope you'll come back to visit many times.
Again?
People will come as one-time visitors and check it out and have a good time, but we really want people to come back again and again to use it for the educational experience that it will give their children and to be as excited about it as we are.
For the adult, the place looks pretty much the same every time you come, unless we have a new exhibit on the floor. But for a child, they are different every day. And so they come with new skills and new ideas and new challenges and new thought patterns, and the place is a very different experience for them every time that they visit us. So they're always delighted to be here.